welcome back to another episode of Mix and Match Radio. Today we've got the Star Wars Super episode, something that's been being planned for several months now, to be honest, since the announcement of, I think, was it the announcement of the release date of The Rise of Skywalker, or I don't really know.
Probably the first trailer.
First
First
trailer,
because we watched it
first trailer.
in this garage
Okay.
when it first came out.
So then,
Yeah, we did. I forgot about that.
Mhm.
So then trailer 1, that's when we decided we were going to do a Star Wars Super episode. So it's been in the planning for a very long time. But unfortunately, before we get into the more fun part of the episode, we have a bit of a lower tone to open us up on. And I'm going to throw that over to Braid for this one.
All right, so like many things in this world, including Star Wars, things are sold to Disney. Productions,
It's true.
companies. I'm going to be one of those things moving over to the dark side starting in January. I applied for a culinary internship at Disney World in Florida, and over like a 2-month application and interview process, I got it. So going down there, arriving on January 13th, and I'll be there for 4 months
God, you
Until-
sick son of a bitch.
until May 14th.
4 months is a long time.
Yeah. I'm super freaking excited, though.
I'm excited for you.
It's really going to open my eyes to, like really submersing myself in
the
the
world
field
of culinary.
and the world
yeah.
of culinary. I didn't want to say the world of culinary arts. It probably would have sounded pretty cheesy, but
I mean, it is a world,
Just-
though.
and it's
Some might say it's
Disney
Disney.
World.
It's more than just Chipotle.
yeah.
Okay.
I don't
That's-
know.
That's unfair. That's
I don't know where I'll be cooking at, whether it's like in Epcot or at one of the resorts, but I'll get placed. I'll know where I'm going like a week before I leave.
What if they just station you at the cart where you're just hanging out people butterbeers? And they're like, all right, this is your internship.
That's
Good luck.
that's Universal, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Which is why I'm not going to Universal.
Disregard that.
But super excited. I'm gonna try to stay in the mix and match loop as much as possible. I don't know what we have in the works for possibilities for that,
Try.
but
We signed a contract in blood. You're bound. You're bound to this.
It's only in death do you leave this office. So
good.
it
I'll feel a constant magnetic pull while I'm in Orlando, just pulling me back to this garage.
yeah, we'll figure out a way to integrate you as we go. I mean, it's going to be interesting. The next few months have a lot of because we only have 4 more episodes with you, or give or take 4 or 5.
I
that
guess
range?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, so okay, first of all, that's not like a death sentence. That's
You're
just
leaving at the end of January or beginning?
January 13th.
Oh,
so
okay. Wow.
like middle.
soon.
Yeah.
It's like a month from now.
It's
Basically.
it's roughly a month from now.
So every episode you hear with Braid Moreno on Mix and Match, just take it and let it soak in, because it might be one of the last for a little bit here. But no, it's gonna be insane. Honestly, knowing everything about you, maybe not everything, but knowing
Enough.
a fair amount about you, it's good to see that you're taking that step and you're getting into a world where I feel like you'll be appreciating and enjoying a lot of what you're doing.
Thank you.
So that'll be very cool. It's obviously going to be sad to lose you. Okay, maybe not lose you.
It's just
gonna-
for 4
I
months.
mean, yeah, but he won't be here as frequently as usual.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've never left like DFW for more than maybe 2 weeks. Probably less than 2 weeks. So I mean, it'll be my longest time away from home by far ever.
I mean, you're going to be living in Florida. It's not
Yeah, like I'm straight up moving into. It's not like I'm just
staying there. You're
packing
essentially
an overnight
leaving
bag.
and moving.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. I mean, have you ever left the DFW range ballpark?
I mean, not for longer than probably 2 weeks at most.
Yeah.
Okay. So being the only person who has lived away from home, that makes me feel so aged and wise.
Accomplished,
Yeah.
maybe.
Being it's interesting. Like living away and outside of you're going to Orlando, so you're definitely not going to like a small town or anything by any means. You're going to a very populated and very touristy area, so it's not gonna.
Yeah.
It'll be different.
Half of the city is Disney World.
Yeah, that's true.
Just about.
But you'll be. Honestly, I would try to do some other things in Florida while you're there.
Oh, 100%.
Go to
I
Miami,
mean, I'll be
the
there during
Keys.
like the spring break time. So
Go to Miami,
if-
Panama
if it-
City. Go to
if
Panama
anybody,
City.
yeah, if anybody
Yeah.
wants to go to Florida for spring break, let me know, and we should make a trip.
God, go to Panama City, dude. That'd be awesome.
I know.
That'd be so cool during spring break. Yeah, but
But I don't know how much time I'm gonna get off during the spring break time, because they're probably gonna have me working a lot,
well,
because it's gonna
Disney World.
be
Yeah, that would
it's
make
gonna
sense.
be so freaking busy.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be like peak season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but no, we'll find a way to keep you involved and
Even if I have to force myself in, y'all can't kick me out that easy.
I don't think we want to kick you out. You're
I
leaving.
know.
You're willingly leaving us.
this isn't like you're not
Y'all
walking
can't
the
get-
plank or
no,
anything.
yeah.
You're just getting off the boat.
Not walking the plank, just I'm just getting off the boat.
Yeah, you're just selectively like, okay, I'll leave.
I'm just taking a little dinghy for a small trip off the boat for a return later.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
That seems like okay.
Yeah.
But no, it's gonna be interesting. 2020 is gonna be a very. There's a lot of I want to say unknown, but that's like I know what you know what do you know what I'm getting out here? Like
I mean, yeah, I understand.
there's a lot of
There's a lot
possibility.
to look forward
Yeah,
to.
there's-
Many things are up in the air currently.
Yeah, we have a lot that I mean I know that Braden obviously has a very big, very very big lifestyle change coming extremely quickly, and I know that each of us have our own things up in the air, and it feels very like close but far, and there's a bunch of question marks all over the place. So we're gonna try to keep you guys updated with as much as we can as far as it all goes. But what's your biggest excitement? I think what's the biggest thing you're looking forward to going down there? If you had to pick one thing, what would you say it is?
Getting out of here.
Getting out of the DFW?
I've wanted to leave home so bad, especially probably since like halfway through my senior year. I was just fed up with everything, and it's gotten like it's been off and ons to where I'm just like
Fluctuating.
I want to get out of here so bad, and then it's not so bad. It's actually like pretty comfortable, but I definitely need to like find myself in a way. I know that sounds cheesy, but especially
How dare you want to discover who you are, Braden?
especially like with how much like kind of uncertainty I have with what I want to do with my life. I know like this general field, but this could maybe give me that idea of whether I really want to pursue like culinary stuff, like apart from maybe managerial stuff or just whatever. I'm trying to find that certainty that I've been looking for a while.
And I
And
mean,
I-
once you're there, you're kind of gonna just need to do it at that point.
Exactly. I mean, I'm
Can't really turn back at that point.
exactly. I'll be immersed in it for 4 months straight. It's probably like the best thing that I could do to really figure that stuff out.
Yeah, and hell, you're gonna be living in Florida while you're at it, so it's not like you're in the worst position possible.
Apparently, there's like this bug in Florida, and it's like prime season for that bug, and it's just like swarms of them all over the place while I'm gonna be there.
It's
And
just you don't
That's
know
nice.
like how we get
you don't know the name of the bug or anything.
it's not locust. I don't know the name of the bug, but like you know how like there's locust seasons in like where we live. Like, have you
Yes.
yeah, and like north of us.
Yeah, I understand
like
what you're
that.
saying. It's just I figured that if you were like this scared of the bug down there, you would know what it is.
I-
When you said bug, I
I mean, it was
immediately
just
thought
like-
illness, and I was like,
Oh no!
I was like, he's going into a virus
like a-
infested area.
I forgot what they call it. It's like similar to a June bug, I think. But I talked to like 3 different people, saying that I was moving to Florida, and it was like, oh, you're going like this spring. Oh, you gotta watch out for the whatever bugs.
All right,
Yeah.
well, that'll be interesting. No, but Florida will be nice. You're just certainly going into a position that's going to be very exciting, and you're going to be learning a lot of new things.
Yeah, I
and
mean, it's
discovering a lot.
in its essence gonna be life changing.
Realistically, it is. I mean, honestly, this is December. Do we have an exact date?
The 9th.
The December 9th, so May 14th is when you come back.
May 14th.
May
is when I
14th
come
could be
back.
could be in a completely different person right here. I mean, this will be on YouTube. We have recorded evidence. If Braden comes back and he's like, "I'm done with mix and match. I ain't never walking back in the studio,"
Yeah.
we can bring it up to this moment right here and just say this is where it all went wrong. So
Future Braden. If
Yeah.
you do any of that, I give permission to both of these to kick me in the nuts once each.
I'll
Noted.
I'll be practicing. I'll I'm gonna start working
Practicing
out.
on who?
This is what you deserve, Moreno.
No, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm really excited for you, but at the same time, I am a little sad that best bud of mine is leaving, and have a third of our podcast is skedaddling out of the garage and going on to bigger and better things.
Yeah, honestly, Braden, being the lifelong friends that we have been, it's going to be very hard for me to let go of you.
It's gonna be really hard. There's gonna be many a FaceTime calls each day because I'm just gonna miss you so much, Muhammad.
Thank you. I know that you'll be knocking boots with Minnie Mouse, but I know it'll be quite the journey for you, my friend. It
Should
has
I-
been nice getting to know you. Even though I get about 4 more episodes, this is quite sad for me.
Should I have like a low key goal of my time in Florida?
Dude, you have to you have to go for one of the
The
One of the
characters,
characters.
Disney
One of the
princesses,
characters.
yeah.
You know they call every single one of their employees at Disney World cast members.
So you're gonna be
every
a
single
Disney
one.
cast member.
I'm technically a Disney cast member. Yes. Can you stop dropping stuff? First your little AirPods case, now your phone.
Oh, I didn't even notice I dropped.
Yeah, that's I noticed that earlier, and I was trying to figure out what it was. I thought I dropped something.
I
and
didn't know
looked
I
down and
dropped
it
my
was just
AirPods.
There's
Oh, well.
AirPods case sitting there.
Speaking of AirPods case, we're giving away AirPods on Twitter. If we reach 400 followers, anybody who retweets and follows the account will win a pair of AirPods potentially. You'll at least be entered in the chance.
The giveaway will not be live unless we have 400 followers. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, we're at
Make it happen,
200
folks.
and
219. No, 221.
yeah, something like that. It was like 26 or something like that.
21.
Right? 21?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh well. Anyways, we're at 221 followers, so we still got some room to work in. Keep retweeting that thing. But with no further comments, we'll have, trust me, we have 4 weeks of Braden before he leaves, and as he gets stressed out.
I'm not gone yet.
As he gets stressed out
got some time.
and as he inevitably waits until the last minute to actually do anything to prepare to leave, I'm sure we'll have a few future episodes discussing this
Well,
topic. But
This is finals week. This hell of a semester that I've put myself through of waking up at 5:30 in the morning. No, not waking up at my train leaves at 5:20. So I wake up at like 4:30 a.m. every Monday through
back
Thursday.
to the trains, man.
I work
Where it begins is where it
kitchen,
ends.
8 a.m. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I am tired of it. It's almost over. I will be a new man come next week. A new, well-slept man.
So yeah, we have 4 episodes left with Mr. Moreno. We'll try to get in as much content as possible. We'll probably be talking about this more, but that's not what we came here to talk about today, unfortunately. We all love you and we all will miss you, but we have more important things
I
to
would
talk
kill
about.
myself if we talked about me for an hour. So I'm glad we're moving on.
Okay, so like I said, Star Wars super episode. And the main reason we're doing it right about now is because we got 10 days? Yeah, 10 days, and then The Rise of Skywalker premieres. The end of the arguably most culturally significant franchise ever, Star Wars. I mean, it's huge. What are you guys expecting? What do you guys think? Are you excited? Are you scared?
Just as everything in life, I'm very skeptical about it. So, I mean, Cole and Braden know my thoughts about Star Wars since Disney has acquired it. I think it's been quite subpar, and so far this franchise has not done anything to wow me as of the past 4 years it's been a part of Disney. So I'm going into this with very, 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 very low expectations, and that's kind of how I'm approaching the situation. I'm hoping by some way it's gonna, I guess, surprise me. However, it's just they haven't established anything in order for me to feel a sense of fulfillment.
I completely understand. When the Force Awakens trailer dropped, which was 2014, I
Yeah.
want to say, is when the Force Awakens
2014.
trailer dropped, because the movie came out in 2015. When it released, the trailer was amazing.
Yeah.
It had the whole "there's been an awakening" opening line of it, and you felt like alive.
The scene with the X-Wings flying just right over the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Chills. Just
The thing that got
Absolute
me
chill.
was the very beginning where the speeder bike's going past the Star Destroyer, and you just see the scale of those massive ships.
yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I was actually watching that movie right before I came here.
Force Awakens.
Yeah.
It's a good movie, honestly. I mean, my biggest gripe with the Force Awakens is that it's just the exact same
It's a
movie. isn't it?
reskin.
It's a New Hope, is what it is.
Pretty much, yes.
It's a good movie. I think, and this is my biggest thing with the Disney storyline so far, is it all feels very corny. but it is Star Wars, so I can't get too mad about that.
Well, it's Star Wars under Disney too.
Well,
so that just adds to the corniness.
Like, how do you
Yeah.
feel about Kylo Ren?
I
think
like
he's
him,
You like Kylo?
Really,
but I want more from him.
I need more from him.
I liked Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens. I hated him in The Last Jedi.
He was becoming, in a sense, for me at least, he was coming across as Hayden Christensen.
Okay.
As in not him specifically, but the character type he was playing in the prequels. But I can see the parallels between them because they're both kind of whiny people.
I mean, they're both Skywalkers.
Yeah.
And Skywalkers really historically are whiny. If you think about it,
yeah.
Anakin, Luke,
Yeah.
Kylo, they're all pretty bitchy about everything they do.
And George Lucas decided to base the entire storyline of Star Wars around these Skywalkers,
Well, that's another thing that makes me mad is the entire thing is supposed to be about Anakin.
and we haven't really gotten
We
much
haven't
of that.
talked about him at all. I mean, he's
Which
been
is why I hope we get a freaking Force ghost.
Vader has been mentioned, but Anakin has not been brought up.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
like the frustrating part about it.
And if anything, at the end of Return of the Jedi, he didn't die as Vader. He died as Anakin.
Well,
Yeah,
that's
and
why
that's-
it's called the Return of the
Yeah.
Jedi. Yeah.
Which is why, like, it doesn't make sense to me how Kylo Ren, like, idolized Vader in The Force Awakens.
Because
when
I
they
don't-
ended Return of the Jedi with Vader not having
But
been Vader anymore.
People
Yeah.
don't know that. Like,
The
there's
in,
the,
in, like, the Star Wars
well,
universe.
you have to realize he
But what
died.
about Kylo himself?
But wouldn't you think Luke would tell people?
Luke probably would tell him that, but he doesn't trust Luke either.
Mm.
You know.
Okay.
And
Or Luke would have told other people.
just as
such
anybody
Leia
else,
or
though,
Han.
Vader and Anakin were kind of viewed as different people. You know, they weren't viewed as the same type of thing. So maybe he idolizes Vader and hates Anakin.
Okay.
It's possible. It's interesting because I think that it's
Yeah, finishing what you started, and, like, he was disappointed in Vader not being able to, like, resist the light side.
Yeah.
And his goal is to finish what he started as Vader, but ended as Anakin.
yeah, and it's just interesting because I think Kylo Ren is an interesting and a fun character to follow because he has that angsty teenager vibe to him.
I don't like that. I don't like
Where
the
he's
angsty teenager
Well,
vibe.
I don't want to say he's relatable, but you can at least. It's not hard to tell what he's balancing with, you know.
Yeah.
He has internal conflicts.
Yes, and I think that's essential because one of the biggest problem with the prequels is that we didn't really see too much of the like obviously it was there, but the way it was fleshed out, the internal conflict with Anakin,
Oh,
it was
god-awful.
terrible.
It was terrible.
And I think that Adam Driver does the exact opposite. I think that he actually portrays it pretty damn well.
Oh yeah, the difference with those two, like with the prequels and this current iteration of Star Wars, you have a decent actor with a terrible script, and then in this current one, you have a great actor with like a all right script. I
Yes.
guess.
Yes.
I mean, the scene where he's with Han Solo on the bridge at the end of The Force Awakens when he kills him, right before he does, you literally see him want to give him
Yeah.
the lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
Like you see him anxious, and he wants to let it go, but at the last second he decides that he's just going to kill him. So Adam Driver's a great actor, first of all. Like
I agree.
He's an incredible actor, and I like Kylo Ren as a character. I don't know how I feel about him as a villain,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
I wish that they would. It's just a matter of them fleshing the characters out better and portraying them in a much more in-depth way than we've been presented with.
Yeah,
That's
I
the
liked-
only gripe that I have still.
The best thing
Yeah.
you said was that, like, there's nothing really established.
Yeah.
There's no real understanding
all
of
stale.
everything. Yeah.
That's
And that-
actually a really good.
And
insight, yeah.
I haven't really, like, put my gripe with these new movies together in words until you said that. Like, there's just nothing established. And
Because I don't care about anyone.
exactly.
I really don't care about anyone. The only person of intrigue for me is Kylo Ren. And I was expecting the most. Honestly, I was expecting the most out of Snoke, if I'm being honest. Because
Snoke or Finn? Finn was
'cause
an interesting one.
Snoke
too.
was very interesting from Force Awakens.
And
I
they just killed him.
I
and-
honestly had no problem with the Force Awakens and the fact that it was a reskin. It's just the Last Jedi was not able to follow up, in my opinion. It
I
had good
completely agree.
parts. There were good parts. However, just it was not a cohesive film.
Well, The Last Jedi kind of undid a lot of what The Force
Yeah.
Awakens set up. The Force Awakens set up Rey's parents to be a pretty big mystery.
Mm-hmm.
That was the whole purpose of The Force Awakens. They built there's a scene in the Force, and if you're recently watched it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But when Rey gets off off of the Millennium Falcon with Han Solo for the first time, and there's that kind of lingering look that Han Solo gives Rey, it's
Yeah.
as if he knows her. And so they built this base in the Force Awakens that Rey built is a more significant part of the storyline,
Mhm.
that she has some tie to somebody. And The Last Jedi was like, okay, I understand what you're saying, but we're not doing it. Like, and I mean, that's
But what if
they
like,
messed up by not going with J.J. Abrams for the second movie, because now J.J. Abrams has had to come back in for the third and try to
I
align
swear
the
to
whole
God,
thing.
I swear if Kylo and Rey are twins, I'm gonna throw something at
It would
the,
at
at the
least
screen.
make sense, though.
Yeah, but it's just I don't know, man.
It would literally be the exact
Yeah.
same story.
There's
Well, I
no
told you-
originality.
I told you how like there were Star Wars books that
Yeah.
came before the Phantom Menace, all that after the original trilogy, and it had Han Solo and Leia having a twin boy and girl.
I think
and
you
they
told me
both-
about that.
Yeah, and it wouldn't surprise me. I think her.
Everyone was going about the Kenobi route, that she is a descendant or even the child.
Well,
of
the whole-
There's,
Obi-Wan.
I can't believe.
I wouldn't
that.
think that either.
There's the Palpatine thought process that maybe she's a Palpatine. I think the most likely scenario is, and this is my biggest fear, if there is one thing that I am scared of above everything, and I think this could be what Disney's gonna do if it's not the twin thing. This is basically what the exact thought I have is that the most popular theory right now is that Skywalker, the rise of Skywalker, is not talking about a person. It's not a name. They think that the Last Jedi was literal. And that Rey is not going to be a Jedi, but she is going to be the first Skywalker. And that's the name Skywalker is just going to be the
The
new
new
Jedi.
title.
It's the new title of what a Jedi would be. So instead of a Jedi, it's now a Skywalker.
I can see that reality too.
Interesting.
It would
Because
be.
you told me that a would go, and that seems realistic of
It
Disney
would
to
be
do.
so
Disney.
But
It
why?
would-
But why Skywalker? Because Skywalker was a person.
because it's a legend. It's a legend.
Okay.
You have to think about it. What power does Skywalker hold in the universe? It's Anakin Skywalker, the most powerful being who ever lived. And then you have Luke Skywalker, the man who took down the most powerful being who ever lived, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was even watching it. I still haven't finished The Force Awakens because I didn't have enough time. But at the beginning of the film, Rey was talking about how Han knew Luke Skywalker, and she was telling him how she thought he was just a myth.
Oh yeah.
And so
He's a legend.
yeah, and so I can see that happening. It's just they just haven't done anything to lead us to that in a way that it will be fulfilling. You know.
If they
Well, because they haven't established anything.
if they go the twin route, at least the story will make sense. That's what I'll say.
Yes, but it'll just be so
Because you know
lackluster.
you know the scene in the throne room where they're both
Yeah.
trying to grab the saber and it's literally stuck in the middle and it splits in half at that
Yeah.
point. That's the end of the Skywalker saber, by the way. I'm
Yeah.
almost am I wrong?
that was
That's-
Luke's lightsaber.
Yeah, that's Luke's saber, which is originally
Yeah.
Anakin's, like way back. So that's the end of that, and I think that would at least it would tie, because if Skywalker blood by Star Wars lore at least is supposed to be like more powerful than anything,
Yeah.
and it would piss me off if Rey was just nobody. Because if she really is just nobody, then there's no way she should be able to compete with Kylo.
Well, we were supposed
Well,
to find out in The Last Jedi, and then
it also just shits on midichlorians, by the way.
Well, I mean, midichlorians are stupid in general. I don't think that should have even been a thing.
Neither do I, but if you're going to introduce something into the storyline, you can't just forget about it. It's like, oh, yeah, that is true, that it was a thing. Yeah, like, no. The whole thing that was supposed to make Anakin powerful was his midichlorian count, which
Yeah, it was
very
the highest
dumb.
that anyone has ever seen.
even
And that he
higher
could have
than-
been conceived by the midichlorians because he had no father.
Well, they think that Darth Plagueis
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Dope,
whole
dude.
thing.
God, I know so much about Star Wars for no reason.
I honestly wish.
It's like a history course.
I honestly wish, rather than continuing the saga after the Return of the Jedi, they should have just done more prequels,
The Old Republic.
so we could see that Dark Plagueis shit play out. Because that's
Yes.
100. The Old Republic, like you just said,
Yeah.
it would be 100% more fascinating.
Have you ever looked into the Old Republic?
I've looked into it a little bit.
There's an
and
animated series on YouTube called The Old Republic. It's actually really well done. You can tell that it's kind of that it's fan made, but it's really well done.
I need to
And
watch this.
It's like a few 20-minute episodes. It's really cool, but that was the series of the trilogy, I think, that D&D were signed for. David Weiss and the Game of Thrones directors that everybody hated.
Oh yeah. I think so.
That's what they were signed on for,
I
was
think
to
I
do
saw
an
that,
Old
yeah.
Republic trilogy, but they left the saga behind to go because everybody hates them now. And
What would they even base it around? Because they have no
there's a source material for it.
I mean,
Okay.
dude, way outside of the movivies, they have tons of comics and books.
Exactly.
So they have
Like-
and those are honestly considered canon too.
Yeah, so they have good source material to work off from it, so that's good. I'm very hesitant to go see The Rise of Skywalker only because I think the trailer looked bad. I understand that, and here's the thing: it's so like, and I can't be mad that it's made for 9-year-olds. It's Star Wars, but the whole battle that they're about to have in space, the massive space battle.
They have to put that in.
I understand it has to be there, but it doesn't make any sense.
I mean, yeah, I agree.
In The Last Jedi, I mind this: we are calling all of our allies. Is what they said in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Not a single damn ship showed up.
No.
So how in the world were there like 800,000 in that picture? Also, horses in space.
I don't know. I don't remember that part.
I don't remember that.
They may not
either.
even be on a carrier at that point, but I saw horses, and that's not like the part that made me mad. I just thought they were in space. So
Another thing that people are speculating, and I mean, even the trailers are hinting at, is Rey's turn to the dark side.
I hope she does.
Which
so bad.
honestly,
oh
I'm
my God, it'd be
I'm
so here
down
for it.
for. However, nothing has led us to believe that she would.
And how would her
ha-
turning to the dark side end the entire series?
Well,
of
the
Star
last
Wars?
here I'm getting there. The Last Jedi actually does hint at that because when she's feeling the Force or whatever that scene was in The Last Jedi, she immediately goes to the dark side to find out who her parents were. I think that was like her first temptation of the dark side, and she showed like a little bit of rage, I guess, here and there,
Yeah.
and so
But I mean, even
Not
in,
really.
even in the
Not-
prequels, you got to see more with Anakin because Anakin in Attack of the Clones, as much as you hate that film, he goes
hate that
back.
movie so-
He goes back to Tatooine and
kills-
slaughters that entire clan
slaves.
of
So, yeah.
slavers.
yeah.
So Anakin's whole thing was like fear of losing the ones he loved because he lost his mom, and
That's how he was tempted, was via
yeah.
Palpatine saying that
via
I
Palpatine.
can save Padme or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. And Rey's whole thing is like finding out the mystery of her parents. But that's I
That's
think
not,
that's
that's not
kind
the
of it.
same level.
That's
yeah.
kind of it's
Yeah.
not the same level.
So I mean, I can
I'd be
understand how
so here for it
and
though.
with-
Holy shit, that
with
made
the
me so
prequel,
happy.
with the prequels, so they already had the base of the original trilogy that they had to like base their stuff off of.
Yeah.
So they had to show Anakin's just kind of scariness
his
of
digression.
how like dark he can get, especially starting in Attack of the Clones and then Revenge of the Sith. And so I watched them like a couple days ago. I've watched
I don't like
I've watched
Sam.
the prequels over this last week, and I finished Attack of the Clones today. And Anakin, like, they did a good job.
Oh, no, they didn't. I don't even know what you're about to say, but they didn't. They did.
They did an okay job of showing just how like kind of creepy the guy is. Just like with him progressing with his relationship with Padme, he's like super aggressive with it at first and like through it all. And then just the anger, like they try to show his anger, it's not shown well. But we don't see any of that with Rey, is what I'm trying to say.
I kind of agree with that, if I'm being honest, because as terrible as the prequels were, you at least feel some sort of connection to, not as in like relatable connection, but you feel a sense of weight with Anakin's character. However, I have felt none of that
With Rey.
with any with Rey or any character, not even Kylo. And
Rey-
he's probably the most interesting character.
They've tried to make Rey Luke Skywalker in a sense, where they want her to like emerge as like super powerful at the very last second to defeat either Palpatine, which I still don't understand how he would be alive.
I mean, he fell down a well and the entire thing blew up.
They're-
So they're going to have to explain it. If they don't explain it, I'm going to quit.
They are going to have to explain the hell out of it. It cannot be a short like
Ryan Johnson screwed this trilogy, if I'm being honest.
yeah.
J.J. Abrams has had to play so much catch up, and so that's why it's just so unexpected as per what we're gonna get from this film. I'm not looking forward to it. I mean, I am, but I'm just ready to be let down.
I'm looking forward to it as like I've grown up around the entire Star Wars franchise. Like playing outside
With
for
the
most of my childhood with the lightsabers and like
or just
ner-
even like
and
sticks.
Star Wars
You'd like
themed-
pick
yeah.
up a stick and it would just be a lightsaber
Literally
at that point.
any of it. I had Star Wars themed birthday parties. Like
What
I-
do you have?
I've been holding this the whole time. It was on the ground. I just picked it
Muhammad's
up.
just holding a big wood stick right now, and I guess he's been holding it the whole time. That's kind of funny.
if I go into this movie skeptic and expecting bad things, I know I'm just gonna pick it apart and find things to not enjoy about it. I'm gonna try my best to go into it and just enjoy what I'm watching, or at least try to enjoy what I'm watching.
I'm gonna try to do
I'm
that.
just
too.
worried. That's
as
all.
it truly is the ending of like the storyline.
Yeah.
And that they say that, I don't know how much I believe it, to be honest with you.
Well, they can still make another Solo movie. Like
Oh,
they
I
have,
hope to God I never even watched the Solo movie, if I'm being honest. with
Did you really not?
No,
It was so boring.
I'll tell you exactly why I didn't watch the Solo movie. I watched like a recap of it, so I know what happens and whatever. But the reason I didn't watch the Solo movie is because the trailer, the first Solo trailer, ended with Chewbacca hanging off of a train before it was going to hit a wall. That was the cliffhanger. Is Chewbacca gonna die in the prequel? That alone made me mad enough. I was like, wonder if he hits the wall. Really gonna go see this movie to make sure Chewbacca doesn't die 30 years before he finishes his story. Yeah, that actually like pissed me off.
I'm
dude.
just saying, man. Everything that Disney
BB-8.
has, everything Disney. BB-8 is probably my favorite thing in the whole
I
damn thing.
love BB-8. It's
He's so
good.
cool.
Apparently, they have like
When he's plugging up the ship. like,
No, my favorite thing is when he like does a thumbs up. At
yes, with the
in
little
Force
with the
Awakens.
little
Yeah.
lighter.
Yeah.
So apparently they have like a working BB-8 droid
They
that
do.
that moves around like
I've
it
seen it. It's sick.
in Disney World. Probably gonna have to buy
Should
one while
steal it.
I'm there.
Steal it.
Just steal it.
Yeah.
They have one
anyway-
that they bring to like press releases that'll it responds to your questions.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know how.
What do you mean respond? They don't talk.
Okay. There's supposed to be like
With a
a
beep, beep, beep.
droid language that's like
I
how
think it
people-
just responds. And
it responds and
and
it's beep,
yeah.
beep, 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 beep.
And whatever
and
code.
then it's translated. Or-
No, it's not like
Oh,
I
he
think it'll just
if he
interact with
hears,
you.
Okay,
it
I got
interacts
you.
back and
I
forth.
got you. Never mind.
Braden really thought that like Siri was put into BB-8.
But yeah,
Directions to your nearest Panera
You said it
Bread.
talked back to you or responded to you. As
It
well.
does
Well,
respond.
that's what he
Yes,
meant.
it responds
Yeah.
and beeps. I understand it now. Moving on.
but yeah.
Dumb.
Out of everything that Disney has produced with the Star Wars franchise, I just haven't been impressed, with the exception of Rogue One. To
Rogue
my
One was
knowledge,
awesome.
my
Rogue
kno-
One was a great movie because they all died in the end.
to my knowledge, a couple people actually hate the film, which
Who?
some of our coworkers, which honestly blows my mind because
Who?
Michael, he hates it.
God damn it, Michael.
And
Michael hates everything.
other
though.
people have said it, but that's probably the best thing that's ever came out. And yeah, there were actual stakes, and they ended up not necessarily winning.
I
you know?
love that about a movie too. I think a movie is so much better when somebody actually loses in their like if the good guy loses in a movie, it's so refreshing.
That's why everyone loved Infinity War.
yeah, exactly.
And looking
It was
back,
something
honestly,
different.
Infinity War is the better film out of
Over
any.
Endgame?
Yeah,
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
but
Endgame.
moving away from that, however, even The Mandalorian, in my opinion, it's a very average show at this point
100%.
because the episodes are too short. There's not much character development. The main guy is very interesting, however, still the
There's
episodes
relatively no.
They
episodes
play you
aren't
kinda
long enough
boring.
for you to care, and the length that the episodes are at, it shouldn't be a weekly release. It should just all be released at this point, if I'm being honest.
It's a tough show to make. I mean, how do you make a show about a guy who never takes off his helmet? You know, like I understand.
we all know who the actor is. You know,
And it's
Pedro
a
Pascal.
great actor.
it's a great actor.
Why
Dude,
does he have no emotion?
Narcos? Great all-time show in my book that I've watched. And him as an actor in that, amazing.
I mean, I don't think the fact that we can't see his face matters because people fell in love with Darth Vader.
Well, okay. Well, that was a. I think people
think
fell in
that's a little bit
I
different
fell
than
in
a
love
mi-
with Darth
than,
Vader
like-
because of the mystery.
Yeah,
It was the mystery. Nobody knew anything about
He was the most badass villain ever because you had no idea who he was, and his voice sounded cool. You know?
We have an
Yeah.
entire layout of Star Wars, and then they have this Mandalorian series.
Well, it's because for some reason they can't do Boba Fett, and I think it has to do with George Lucas or something. But that's why it's kind of random.
I don't. I mean, I think it's a good show. I
think it's just very average.
I think-
I enjoy
and
it.
what's the point of it all going to be in the end?
nothing.
Too?
It's
exactly.
It's really. It's
It'll probably
just
be
a
another
cash
season or
grab.
something, if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
And Baby Yoda, I think, honestly, is the only reason there's so much hype around the show.
That's the
Well,
only
they
thing
can
honestly
market-
keeping it alive.
They
I
can
would
market
agree.
Baby Yoda really well too.
exactly.
They're gonna sell the crap out of Baby Yoda merch and
Yeah.
and like.
Do you know
stuffed
how many?
Baby
Yeah,
Yodas
that's
at
exactly what I was
Disney
gonna say.
World.
Stuffed
It's
Baby
gonna
Yodas
be
is gonna be the only thing in the world.
Insane.
I mean, don't get me wrong, he's cute as hell, but like,
Yeah, I love Baby Yoda. I'm just saying I want more out of the movie. I mean,
saw-
out of the show.
I saw somebody calling for Baby Yoda to be nominated as the best supporting actor.
Yeah.
I think Baby Yoda was on the freaking candidate list for the Democratic Party.
Yeah. Running, I am. Do you follow the Baby Yoda Twitter account?
No, I didn't even know there
I
was
didn't know
one.
there was one.
It's a
either.
great decision. They respond to it, but I had a Baby Yoda account respond to one of my tweets the other day. I'm gonna find it real quickly before I move on. I'm just gonna keep talking. Okay, yeah. I said you tweet about one thing, or you said you tweet one thing about homework, and 36 people offer to write your paper for $1,200 an hour. And wise Baby Yoda bot responded with, "Tend to your studies, you must. If the level of Jedi Master you desire to reach."
But okay, I don't know how I feel about that because Baby Yoda doesn't talk.
Well, I mean,
It's
that
like
was a
Baby
Yoda
Yoda.
bot just in general,
Just
but there
Yoda
is a
bot.
Baby Yoda account out there. I follow it. It's entertaining.
Nice. But yeah, I agree with Muhammad in that The Mandalorian has been kind of underwhelming.
I was
I
expecting
have to
it
watch
to be
it.
a lot better than it was.
I agree.
I have to watch it, but I really just am not that.
And they have 3
interested
more
in it.
episodes because apparently it's only an 8-episode season.
Mm-hmm.
They were trying to be Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones tells so much story.
But the episodes
in
are over
1
an hour long for some
What
of
do you
them,
mean
right?
they're trying to be Game of Thrones
Well, when I say
with
they're
the weekly
releases, short seasons, and a lot of, because the idea of Game of Thrones really is that every episode felt almost like a community event, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All of Twitter was talking about Game of Thrones after each episode was releasing. So you had a fair amount of engagement with the whole situation, and everybody was waiting really anxiously to get to the next episode. I just don't think The Mandalorian carries as much.
There's not that
Wait.
there with The Mandalorian, even though it
And it
comes out.
surprises me with Disney, too, because I wouldn't expect Disney to fall short on an opening release.
Well, yeah, people for Game of Thrones, you especially, Cole, you watched it the second it came out, right?
Well, no, yeah, I was watching on release night
Live.
every single time.
Yeah.
Every single
With
time.
The Mandalorian,
Without fail.
I wake up the next day, I'm like, oh, a new episode of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I haven't even seen episode
Well, they
4
come out
yet.
at about 2 a.m.
There's no like real anticipation.
It's
that
like
I
I'll
feel
I'll watch it
for
when I
watching
get to it. You know?
exactly.
And this is my fear for the Marvel properties that are going to be coming out on Disney Plus as well.
They released screen caps from them. If you didn't see them,
I haven't seen that.
they released screen caps for WandaVision and Winter Soldier. It looks pretty good, to be honest. That's besides the point.
Yeah,
though.
but Mandalorian looked really good too.
That is also true. I don't know. I think I have more character investment in Marvel people though.
I do as
opposed
well.
to-
I'm just worried.
No, I understandably so, because if they go this route where they're relying on you can't rely solely on the interest in the universe itself,
On
because
the hype.
if people are really excited about Star Wars stuff, whatever it is, and there's a lot of investment within the Star Wars universe, but that doesn't mean you can't develop a storyline as the character, you know? Because
Yeah.
and that's the thing that I think they've failed with on every turn is they
Character
haven't
development.
developed on character, or they haven't developed their characters at all across the board. The only character who has any development whatsoever is Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they show his like entire
They show his
backstory
his
with
conf-
Luke and everything like
he
that.
also has conflict, and you show him like kind
killing
of like
his father,
shifting off and on. That He's
Yeah.
the only person. Finn
killing Snoke.
Finn has been the exact same person since he entered the series. Rey has been the exact same person since she entered the series. Poe has been the exact same person
Yeah.
since he entered the series. And Poe is Oscar Isaac,
Yeah.
another great actor that is being aggressively underused by Disney.
I agree.
It's not like they don't have the opportunity to tell these stories. They just haven't.
It's just it's very disappointing.
I agree.
And I don't know how they're going to conclude this in a satisfying way. I
They
really
probably
have no idea.
won't, and that's the thing.
Yeah, which is why I don't necessarily think it's going to be the end.
And they're just relying, and I mean, like you said, they're relying on the universe for the success. However, you can't. I mean, all of Force Awakens was basically fan service, and you can't just keep relying on that. I think another because in Rise of Skywalker they're getting Lando back, and so that's going to be one thing that people are going to
The
be looking
fan
forward
service,
to.
yeah.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, you're relying on characters that had been previously developed.
Yeah.
Like Lando Calrissian is an extremely famous movie character. I mean, probably maybe not most people, but I would say most people that have watched any Star Wars film know who he is.
Anybody going into this movie is going to know who he is.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so I think that's why they're introducing them. I think they made a huge mistake with killing off Luke in The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Because I think that may have been the only thing that really.
But what if
I
it,
wanted more
could've
from
gained
his character
on.
too.
I did
what if it
too.
helps with play with like a Force Ghost
I can
storyline?
see that.
I think
However,
that Anakin's the more important person to bring in now. I think if they've been done with Luke, you need to be done with Luke.
but they
Okay.
haven't done anything to establish Anakin's relevance.
Exactly, but that's the whole thing. Is this story about Anakin, or is it not? Because Disney and George Lucas fight about everything, though. Like,
I mean, it is Disney's fault though. However, because George Lucas sold them the rights with the intent that they would continue what he left them with.
Mm-hmm.
However, Disney was like, yeah, whatever. Here's your money.
it's because the movies make a lot of money, and they do because they're Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
They're not good movies. The Last Jedi was horribly rated. The Force Awakens was a good movie, but it wasn't.
It was a reskin.
It wasn't anything new. The only movie that they've made so far that's been good is Rogue One.
I
Rogue
agree.
One, completely new characters.
It was phenomenal.
All of them were developed enough, and the main focus was Jyn Erso, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jyn Erso, and they developed a character and killed a
It
character
was-
all in the same movie and made it meaningful.
It was so good. They turned a quick phrase in A New Hope talking about how people
Yeah.
died to get this information and turned that into an amazing movie. Turned a character who gets them that information based off the person who designed a part of the Death Star
into an unknown hero.
And it gave us one of the most badass Darth Vader scenes ever.
That
The
is
best-
not the most.
it is
That is the
the
most badass.
most
It
badass
was so
Darth Vader scene.
dope.
Oh my god, dude! Because his entrance, man, it gives me like.
You see the
goosebumps just thinking
lightsaber.
about it. It's completely dark, and then the lightsaber comes in. Oh my god!
I'm gonna watch that when I get
I'm
home.
same here, same here.
I'm not gonna study.
I literally get goosebumps.
I'm not
thinking
gonna
about it.
study for my finals. Screw that.
And then you can just see the rebel like faces, like, fuck.
Yeah, they're just terrified.
We made a mistake, and then I mean, I've watched this scene like a million times, so I could like reenact it.
Grabbing the bolt.
But no,
grabbing-
he pulls one of them up, and then he just like launches him into
Yeah.
the ceiling, and when he does it, he launches him into the ceiling and then cuts him in half as he's walking forward without even looking at him. It's the most badass scene in the world, dude.
Yeah,
oh my
I'm
god.
gonna have to. I'm probably gonna just Google it right after this so
Rogue
I can
One is
watch
a
it.
great movie. But no, I think Rogue One was good because they spent the time to attempt to develop a new set of characters, a new storyline.
That they didn't have to like protect. They didn't have to hold back on certain things.
Exactly,
because they would need to carry on the storyline, or they didn't have to do anything because of previous storylines. They were just able to go free with it.
no, and
So nothing in previous movies kept it from being what it was, and nothing in future movies kept it from being what it was.
Yeah, it was its own contained story in an already established universe.
Yes.
And I think you can do that still, especially when you have a character like Rey, who could have been whatever you wanted her to be.
Mm-hmm.
A character like Kylo, and I understand that he's tied to
Skywalker.
the Skywalker blood. I understand that, but he's
Same with
still.
Finn. I was expecting a lot more from him.
Finn could have been. I think it would have been awesome if Finn became a Jedi.
I think it would have been awesome if he died too.
I
the
think it
first
would have
movie
been
or no?
great
In
if
Last
he
Jedi.
died.
Oh, the last.
If he-
Oh,
if-
that scene, man.
If he died in that film,
hate
I
Rose.
would have had some sense of satisfaction.
I hate
However,
Rose. I hate
Rose,
Rose.
being the stupidest character that they've ever established, besides from Jar Jar Binks, had to ruin it.
We're not gonna.
And it even introduced us to the stupidest sequence. The freaking casino planet, dude.
We're not gonna win this war by destroying those we hate, but by saving those we love.
He was destroying them in order to protect what he loves.
He was going to save all of you. Realistically, let's just track how that scene would have logically worked. It had Luke not shown up. Had Luke not shown up in that moment, what would have happened? Hey, what's his name? Hux? General
Yeah.
Hux? Hey, General Hux. There's two rebels literally right in front of us, and they would have been like, oh, and then stomped on him with one of the Imperial walkers. They would have died anyways. It's not like, oh my God, Rose, you hero. Now I am 13 feet away from enemy lines, and I'm certainly not going to die, as I am one of two people. You know,
I'm not looking forward to her character.
I hate Rose.
I don't want to see her.
If
at
they
all.
opened up the movie with her ship exploding, I'd be like, okay, cool, I'm interested. But
Same with the BS at the beginning, or I think it was the middle, with Leia being blasted into space.
What? Pulling herself back? Like, what is
Yeah,
that?
And flying back.
I can't handle it.
And
I
what-
thought it was going to end perfectly with her dying.
I was fine with that.
Kylo killed her.
It was
the end.
It was graceful. It would have added
Yeah.
so much tone to Kylo too. Like,
So
holy shit, this guy
random.
He killed his mother,
both of his
too.
parents. That would have added so much tone. It was a graceful death for Leia, who was Carrie Fisher.
I'm like,
who had
I'm
just
shaking
died
in my
too.
chair right now.
It would have been a perfect
Oh
death.
my God.
In space, it would have been like
Sometimes I forgot how bad this
it would have
movie
been
was.
angelic as hell. And then she just uses the Force in a way that has never been done before. By the way, that is like not a thing that has happened ever at all.
Especially with somebody who isn't trained in the Force.
And I mean, we weren't
She's
taught.
in
We weren't even notified that she could do so. You
No.
The
know,
only thing she's ever done with the Force is talk to Luke twice.
Yeah.
Ever. And it's I can't handle it. I can't handle it. I literally just cannot handle
the
it.
only God, dude, that film was such a disappointment. I was probably
You're
satisfied with.
supposed to immediately die when you're just in space without any protection.
It
I
is
mean,
a
yeah,
vacuum.
you're supposed to blow up.
Space
supposed
is
to,
a vacuum. There is nothing. There is no air. There is no like.
No, her face just gets a little cold instead.
But yeah, only good things from that film were the throne room sequence and then the part where she flies through the destroyer and it gives us that awesome visual.
That was a cool
That's
visual, yeah.
that's straight up probably the most beautiful scene
Yeah.
I've seen on a screen
But also something like,
ever. It
why-
was awesome.
why have we never seen that happen before? Of somebody just light speeding into something to destroy it.
I do agree.
Couldn't they have just done that with the Death Star? Like,
Yeah.
flown a ship at light
Yeah.
speed into it?
It definitely opens up quite a few plot holes. I will give you that. But it was very
It looked cool.
pretty. Well, because like the whole movie was very intense, and then it cut all sound, and it had like a really bright
Yeah.
white flag. It was
Yeah.
just, it was a beautiful cinematography in that scene was awesome. The cinematography in The Last Jedi is surprisingly good.
Oh, it was a
The
very
cinematography
visually
in all
appealing
these-
film.
Yeah,
Disney's great at it.
but there was just nothing else. Like, oh my God! And then the scene where Finn fights Plasma or whatever.
Phasma.
Phasma. When
Her
this-
character was also super hyped because I mean I haven't seen the film. I
Well,
haven't
she
seen
was
the
an
show.
all chrome stormtrooper.
I haven't seen the show, but I know that her character, or
show?
the actress who portrays her, she's from Game of Thrones. I don't know her name.
I'm gonna have to do some research. Continue
But
talking.
however, she was supposed to be very hyped. Got nothing from her character besides a couple bits of dialogue where she's mad at Finn.
Yeah,
It's Gwendolyn Christie. I don't know how I
put a
know
face
that.
to the name.
that was impressive. But
Oh, she plays oh, what's her name? I haven't watched Game of Thrones in forever.
But she is in Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
correct?
really tall night girl, lady something, Sir. She calls her Sir at the end of the movie. It doesn't matter. Continue. God, that's gonna.
But yeah,
Uh,
they were hyping
Fat-
her up at the beginning when Force Awakens was being a thing,
I
but
don't
nothing was being paid off, dude. There's no payoff in this franchise, and it will not be fulfilling when Rise of Skywalker concludes.
I don't.
Unless they do something. Unless, if Jar Jar Binks doesn't come back, I will not be happy. That is the only thing that will save this movie for me.
if Jar Jar Binks isn't the incredible Sith Lord we have been waiting
I'm going to be
for,
so mad, dude.
I think it would make the movie so.
Make it so much more gripping if Jar Jar came back and he was actually Sidious.
That
be
oh my!
actually incredible.
If it's like a long pan as to it's like him laughing in the chair, and it's you just see Rey's facial expression just like Jesus Christ, like, and it just pans around. And it's
well, everybody would just be like,
You
Who
said
the
die.
hell are you?
You said die now. Oh, I'd be
Which-
so happy.
So I watched Phantom Menace on VHS tapes when I was younger. Like me and
VHS.
my family had it on VHS. So I watched it at a young age. So I never really got to like understand how bad the prequels were until
dude, I
I've
used to
watched
think they were
them
so
recently.
cool.
I thought they were the best.
Yeah.
I thought a big scene with a bunch of clones and Jedis in a Coliseum was such a
CGI
cool
was
scene.
awful, man.
But and like Jar Jar, I thought he was just this funny character, kind of cool character, indigenous to the
Yeah.
to the planet. But after like being able to understand the original trilogy and what those 3 movies built, and then come with the Phantom Menace and destroy all of that with that movie, I
Phantom Menace
never
had
got to
good
really
aspects of the
understand
movie.
that.
I'll give it,
It
that.
did.
It had good areas. I think pod racing was stupid. I
I thought pod racing was kind of cool because it kind of showed like it showed Anakin's
Like,
abilities
be-
at
to be a
such a young
pilot,
age.
yeah.
it shouldn't.
How, like what he
It's
could
very,
do.
very insightful of you, Braden.
In my opinion, they should have spent less time, like giving him an origin story, just a little bit
Okay.
less time. So offer that, and maybe even a short pod racing scene for those who think it's interesting, and then take him and show like the beginnings of him becoming a Jedi,
Okay.
just like the beginnings, like maybe. And I know they showed a little bit of that where he talks to Yoda, and Yoda's like, "We're not gonna do it."
That's pretty much it though.
Yeah, but there's no
With
real
with
depth to it.
Qui-Gon really
And then the
wanting
next
to.
movie is like a 10-year jump, and he's just a Padawan or no, at that point is
Yeah,
he,
he's a
Is he
Padawan.
Padawan or Knight? Yeah,
a Padawan.
He's a Padawan at that point, and
He's a Padawan in the entire Attack of the Clones movie.
Yeah,
Like, he's
Yeah.
so-
Because
still
he has the
considered a Padawan.
braid.
yeah, and then so he's a Padawan at that point, but it skips like 10 years of his life,
Mhm.
and
There's so
just-
much that we have not seen that we should have seen.
And Anakin is one of the most iconic characters in all of cinema.
Yeah.
Literally, Darth Vader
Yeah.
is probably the most iconic villain to ever exist.
Yeah.
I think Thanos might trump him.
No.
Okay.
It's Darth Vader, man.
Where you're talking like the biggest
Thanos
Marvel
is someone
fan
who
you're
is
gonna find.
Thanos is established like 2 years ago
Yeah, but I think
by the mass population. I mean, there's an entire community of
I got you.
comic people, but Darth Vader's been
Darth
known.
Vader literally changed. Like, he is the most well-known line.
He was created on cinema.
Luke, I
You're
am
right.
your father, first of all.
Yeah. You're not my
What?
dad.
and then that.
Apparently, he doesn't say Luke, I'm your father.
He just says I'm your father. Yeah.
yeah, not Luke. I'm
I thought that was interesting because everyone thinks of it the other way. But yeah, the
Trying to
more
Yeah,
you
he
know.
definitely doesn't say Luke.
No, he definitely doesn't say
Yeah.
Luke. Yeah.
Anyway.
He says, okay, I remember how it goes. He goes, Obi-Wan never told you the true story about your father, Luke, did he? And then he goes, I am your father.
Yep.
And then Luke goes, no, it's impossible.
No, you know it.
Search your feelings. You know it to be true. Yeah. Good scene.
Great scene.
No. But
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire
Great
Strikes Back,
movie.
fantastic movie. Perfect movie. Like, just about.
I want an entire film of Yoda. I'd like to see his life
I
See,
feel
I
like
think-
it'd be interesting to see him operating on Dagobah.
because
after-
Yoda's arguably the greatest Jedi ever.
Well, okay, the
Most
whole point the
powerful.
whole
Yeah.
point of Dagobah was
to
so
mask him.
to mask him.
Well, it's a dark side planet. That was the whole purpose.
And he went there to
Dagobah.
exile himself.
Because
Yeah, to
he-
exile himself.
well,
That's what I was
Well,
trying to
he
get
went
at.
there to exile
Because he
himself. but-
failed at defeating cities.
He literally said, "In exile, I must go."
Yeah,
But-
so I watched the movie. I finished it today, actually.
But the reasoning he went to Dagobah is the why I brought that up, because they could have sensed him elsewhere if
Yeah.
he didn't go to Dagobah, because Dagobah offered the like cloud, I guess, of
I got you.
stuff. But no, he fails in fighting Sidious, which is a great fight there too, to be honest.
And
I
then at
don't
the-
like where they fight. I think where they fight is stupid. They fight in the Senate, which is so
Oh yeah, with the
Oh,
floating chairs
I
and
hate.
stuff.
I realized that watching it today. There was no reason for them to have to like
not at all.
just float up into the big Senate room and throw
Literally makes no
the
sense.
giant things around.
Makes zero sense at all. There's
How do they go from fighting in the throne room or like just his office?
the way he approaches him in the office itself is like funny. He walks in there and
He just-
body drops the
He
two
body drops
guards.
his guards.
And they're just like, oh, okay. Look.
He just throws them up against the wall and then they fall dead.
Also,
Maybe not dead.
a really funny thing with that entire prequel trilogy is the fact that being introduced to Palpatine's character, it's a very subtle nod that he could possibly be the the Emperor, and then fast forward to Revenge of the Sith, and it's so blatantly nonchalant, and no one can find, and no one realizes it. Like, literally, after Anakin chops off Count Dooku's head, he goes, yeah, do it.
Do it now.
And no one suspects anything.
The scene where he cuts off Dooku's head's actually pretty cool, to be honest. That's like one of the few moments you see Hayden Christensen's depth.
What?
Well, what are you laughing at?
Do it.
Do it now. But no, it makes the sound it makes when he cuts off his head. It's like just like.
Well, first he cuts off his hands, and then he cuts off his head.
Dude, honestly, I hate Dooku in the movies because Dooku looks so stupid anytime something happens. Like, he looks at Sidious and he's just like, oh my god.
He's Saruman, man.
I'm gonna die now.
Wait, what?
I thought.
Why are you doing
Wait. I thought we were on the same. We not on the same team here anymore, man. Like, I'm picking up what you're putting down. He's gonna kill me. That's what's going right now. He's okay. It's just the whole thing, and it's what?
Do it.
No, it's the prequels are movies that could have been so good.
I agree.
And
They just weren't.
Being at a time where Jedis are so common, and would have. I mean, I guess Attack of the Clones tried to show that at the end with that freaking Coliseum scene, but that was so terrible and so disjointed.
So the Clone Wars series like develops like how many Jedis there are a little bit better because they have shows based around like a single Jedi.
I completely forgot about the Clone Wars. That's probably the greatest thing that
That's come
this
out of
franchise
Star Wars.
has given
It's
it.
pretty
With
good.
the best depth too.
It's pretty good. I've been watching it.
Yeah. I
No
want to restart it.
complaints. No
It was
complaints.
phenomenal.
I've
I
seen it
didn't finish
multiple
it,
times
but I
through.
watched it like up to halfway.
It's very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the only reason it exists though is because they released the prequels and everybody hated them. They were like,
yeah.
we should do something about
Let's
this.
make a show that's good.
No,
And that kids can enjoy too.
what I
Yeah.
think they should have done, and this may be a mildly unpopular
They
opinion.
put real quick.
Oh.
They put that show on Cartoon
I mean,
Network,
real
right?
quick.
Yeah,
You're
it
just like-
was.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay. Anyways, what I think they should have done with the prequels is I think they should have released still 3 movies, like keep with the trilogy. Movie number 1, show him as a kid, and then give it like a little gap and make him a Padawan real quick. A very brief movie. Kind of combine Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones a little bit. But instead of having a huge battle at the end of Attack of the Clones like they do, just like make it start. Like get the little
And then open it.
nudge it forward, open it into the Attack of the Clones. Have a little bit of that, and then throughout that movie you see Anakin turning to the dark side.
So you think in
Okay.
the first movie, we should have been able to see Anakin grow up a little bit
Yes.
through
Grow
Jedi
up
training?
a little bit, get him out of
Okay.
Padawan, have Attack of the Clones start, or so combine Attack of the Clones and have the second movie be what I would consider to be I would say it would be all of the second half of Attack of the Clones and the first half of the Revenge of the Sith all combined. Make that all combined. Crunch that into a little bit to where you start to see Anakin start to shift into a dark side, and you start to see him be a badass. Because I wish we would have gotten the scene where he goes and just kills the entire Jedi temple. I wish that would have been in the second movie. Establish him as a badass villain, and have him actually fleshed out as a badass villain a little bit. And then in the third movie, it would charge up the scene between him and Obi-Wan so much more.
Yeah.
It would make it. It would
That's
make
not bad at all.
the payoff would be so much bigger if it had been like, if it had been years since they had actually seen each other, and then
Okay.
Obi-Wan had seen how far he was fallen instead of it being like a realization thing. Because that's like the whole thing, that the whole scene is Obi-Wan just realizing like, holy shit, Anakin's actually scary as hell.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't really believe it too much, but when he goes and he hears
When-
him talk to Padme,
Yeah, when he sees him choking Padme,
When he's-
and
he's
he
like-
hears him talking to her.
his entrance, by the way, can I talk about how he gets out of the? I'm gonna stand up and do this real quick. When he gets out of
Well, he's just standing there.
he's just.
He just stands
I don't
there
know how
and
Anakin
watches.
didn't notice him because he's looking over and Obi-Wan's just sitting there going. Like he's just hands on his hips, standing there like.
I shall save you, fair maiden.
He, and the whole speech between him and Obi-Wan is so funny. He's like, And it's iconic in some ways, but at the same
You're supposed to destroy the dark side, not join it.
You were the chosen one.
If you put it in like, if you shortened the length of their sentences to where it was like, you're supposed to, destroy the dark side, not join it, it just made it like less intense. It would just sound like a kind of like, hey, what the hell, man? Like it would just like,
I have the high ground. It's pointless.
Anakin
like-
just jumps.
you have turned her against me. You have done that yourself.
I think there could have been a better comeback too when Anakin's laying on the ground and when he just says, "I hate you." It could have been something better. That's the most teenage thing you could have said.
I hate you. You're grounded, Anakin. Slide into the lava now. First of all, let's talk about the biggest not clutch moment of Obi-Wan's career by not just like
Killing him?
pushing him a little bit.
Like, he just leaves him there to burn.
Well, I don't
First of
think
all,
he wanted him to die. I think he wanted him to suffer.
Pretty big fuck up there, Obi. Like,
I think he wanted him to suffer. Possibly.
I understand. Even if he wants him to suffer, like, and I mean, I'm sure he did. But even if he wants him to suffer, like, dude, like, you should at least stick around for the show. Like,
Just to make sure, like, see it through.
like that is the most powerful person in the world.
And you just cut off his legs.
And he caught on fire. I mean, I can understand why you thought he was gonna die, but like,
But why not like end his suffering too? After all you've been through,
yeah, it is kind of.
you beat him. Congratulations. Now finish it. But then we wouldn't have the original trilogy, which came first. And it's one of like the holes that they kind of had to like move around. They can't just kill Anakin.
I like Revenge of the Sith. The third act of
I thought it
the
was good.
third act of Revenge of the Sith is phenomenal. I
Revenge of the
think
Sith isn't horrible.
the movie itself is way too long. There is like so much political like rising in the scene where Padme. God, dude, Padme's character kind of pisses me off, if I'm being honest. Natalie Portman is awesome.
Oh.
Oh,
but
she's
Padme
she's
so-
an Academy Award-winning actress.
But Padme's character is just like in general, like very like.
They made Natalie Portman look like a bad actress. In
Like
that
that is
film.
exactly
Yeah.
what you would say. The scene where she's sitting there and she's like, "So this is how democracy dies."
Yeah,
with,
there-
with thunderous
with
applause.
thunderous
I'm like,
applause.
God damn it, give me just something. And then the scene where Anakin and her meet up for the first time and they're kissing like in the middle or whatever, and she's like, "We can't do it here." And it's like, well,
And the way
I
they
already
talk, the way Anakin and Padme interact with each other with their infatuation, in no realistic way would anyone have a conversation like that with their significant other.
Sorry, I'm getting a
You
little
done?
tired. I need to stand up, get the blood flowing. I apologize.
so we haven't done this on the podcast yet, but towards the beginning stages, Braden would get very sleepy during our recording, so he would stand when he
I
was.
think there's one where Braden and I were both kind of dozing off.
Well, no, okay.
We had
I
an
remember-
episode.
I
That
can
was a
tell you.
rough
I can
one.
tell you exactly which
rough
episode
one.
this is. It is our worst performing
It's
episode.
the freaking AI and
It's the
Pablo
King of
Escobar.
Cocaine and Artificial Intelligence, and we recorded it at like 11:30 at night. And I was sitting there, and this is like the most demoralizing situation in the world. We were probably like 45 minutes in the podcast, and I'm having a full-on conversation with Braden and Muhammad, and I'm looking at Braden, and Braden's just like dozing off asleep, and I'm like, I can't. I'm in the middle of recording too, so I can't just be like, "Yo, wake up!" Like you were falling asleep.
Oh,
in
I
the middle of the
straight
recording.
up, my eyes were closed for probably a good 3 minutes at a time.
And I was like, I was kind of like looking at Muhammad, and Muhammad himself was just like,
I was very drained.
he was dozing off himself. So at the very end, I was like, that was just bad.
So now we've decided to record much earlier, where we have much more energy
Yeah, I mean,
until I have to stand up again.
see, like much earlier.
And then standing up really just does help. It does. It gets your blood flowing. I think it makes me talk a little bit louder. I don't know. It just feels good. I don't like sitting down for long periods of time. You looked at me really weird there.
Okay. Anyways, no, but yeah, I wish y'all wouldn't have fallen asleep during that episode because I was really looking forward to that one.
I'm sorry.
Because it was a good episode. We were talking about Pablo Escobar.
I don't think we knew enough about Pablo
Yeah.
Escobar to like have
I
that
didn't even know that. I
episode.
didn't even know that much about AI.
I don't think
Or AI for that
I
matter.
knew a decent amount about both of them, but not enough to where I could just speak about it with any type of authority.
Yeah.
So I was hoping we would have a little bit of banter about how insane some of the ideas proposed are. What's going on there, bud? What's going
My back was itchy.
For the podcast listeners, Muhammad just started scratching his back with this big stick that he's had this whole time that He made a lightsaber.
Where did that come
sound
from?
It was on the table, and I just grabbed it.
He's
I
been
just grabbed
carrying it for this entire podcast.
I seriously
so
have
far.
no idea where that's from. Like, not even the slightest clue.
What is it? What do you mean? It looks like door trim.
Probably.
All right, well, that's that. But no,
It's a terrible, terrible back scratcher. So
we're all pretty
Good to know.
skeptical about Star Wars, I would say.
yeah, very.
I
I love the franchise too, which is the sad thing.
And the more-
exactly.
I-
Like no matter how bad some of these movies have been, you still can't hate the franchise.
As much as I talk garbage about it, it's just for the fact that I want more from it because
Yeah.
it's such an interesting universe.
I've thought about
and
it.
lightsabers are just cool.
Yeah.
I've thought about it a lot, like a ton actually, and it's a pretty good point. Overall, more of the movies are bad than are good.
Yeah, I would agree. And what is it like 4 good movies?
Probably four good
Four
movies.
out of
Four,
What do-
maybe
do
four
we
and a
have-
half.
Do we have 11 movies?
Yeah, so you have the 9 movies of the main.
Which we're
Canon.
about to get our 9th. So
Yeah.
we have
Then
the
you have
Solo
Rogue
and
One with
Solo,
So,
Rogue
yeah,
One.
so it'll be 11 movies total.
Yeah.
wow.
So 4 out of 11 movies are good.
That's not the best. That's not the best
Can we
stats.
at least make it 5?
Possibly 5, including Force Awakens, but that's like, it's nothing
I
special.
don't think The Force Awakens is anything. It's literally. It's
I thought The
it's a
Force
good
Awakens
movie.
was good,
It's a
though.
good movie. It's a good.
I-
movie.
okay, I
It's
think-
the same movie as the New
I'm
Hope.
gonna-
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the original trilogy was good. I'm gonna say Revenge of the Sith was good. I'm gonna say Rogue One was good. I'm gonna say Force Awakens was good. So I'm gonna give it 6 out of
I'll say
11 so
5.
far. Before I've seen Rise of Skywalker.
The
That's just 'cause I can't even bring myself to dislike some of these movies.
4.5 is what I'm giving it right
Okay.
now, and that's because
Is it half of Revenge of the Sith?
it's half of Revenge of the Sith.
Gotcha.
Because you get the original trilogy, which is flawless. Well, maybe not flawless, but it's good, very good, very memorable. And then you have Rogue One, which is a damn good movie. Like it could arguably be up there with one of like some of my favorite Star Wars in general.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's so cut and to the point,
Yeah.
and it's like it's just very well done. And I can't get myself on board with the Disney product yet. The Last Jedi was bad. Like it was bad. The Force Awakens is a good movie, but it's not original in any aspect at all whatsoever.
The Last Jedi should have arguably been the best Star Wars movie.
If they did it correctly.
On
yeah.
If they
paper,
did it
on
correctly.
paper, it should have
Uh-huh.
been the best film.
If they did it correctly, yes. And I think that none of them
They-
would even get close to. I think the only reason that the trilogies or the original trilogy it doesn't blow everything like so far out of the water is because of the CGI. I think if the
Yeah.
CGI held
Yeah.
to the same it was today, it wouldn't even be comparable. Like,
The
It-
CGI in the prequels pisses me off, dude. Like, it is so terrible.
it's-
And even other films that came out around that era, the CGI was not terrible.
look at the Matrix.
also-
look at the
I mean,
Matrix.
yeah, the Matrix. You had Spider-Man coming out around those
Yeah.
times too.
Some beef I have with the prequel trilogy, the lightsaber stuff. There's too much twirling.
Yeah.
They twirl their lightsabers way too much, and it's completely unnecessary.
What do you think about the fight scene between Anakin and Obi-Wan?
I think so. There's some like fancy antics and stuff like that, but it's a lot of like saber on saber on saber.
There's emotion
like,
going
quickly.
through it.
It's
I
my-
think it's really
it's
good.
straight up probably my favorite fight scene in all of
Star Wars.
definitely all
Oh,
of Star
just
Wars.
like movies.
All favorite fight scene. I'm trying to think of one that would beat it. Overall, probably favorite fight scene in all of movies.
Just one-on-one fight
one-on-one
scene.
fight scene. Yeah,
I
favorite
would probably
overall
agree.
one-on-one fight scene. There team fight scenes. There's like a billion different things to beat that, but one-on-one. I'm trying to think. Nope, The Rock and Vin Diesel in Fast 5. No, I'm messing around.
That's up there.
But
You ever seen?
if you, I want you to go and watch.
You ever
Fast
seen
and Furious.
Bruce Lee fight Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
Go watch Fast and Furious 5 and count how many walls they jump through in that fight scene.
Oh my god!
It's absurd. It's like 6. You're sitting there and it's just like, koosh.
Big man fight big man.
I
Jump
hate The
through wall
Rock.
they do.
I hate The Rock.
Shut up.
I hate The
know,
Rock.
we were talking about this before the episode about how much Cole hates The Rock and how about how much Muhammad likes The Rock.
It's the
I'm just in between. Getting like I'm just a little child.
I think The Rock is a
fighting
great
parents.
person. I do not think he is an
You know,
actor.
before we start listening, viewers, because of your bullshit, Cole, let's just wrap this up. You know, I think that would be quite reasonable right now.
Fair enough.
Before Cole gets on his his rock rant again.
Yeah, I should probably avoid that. But anyways, Braden, you're leaving very soon.
I'm leaving very soon.
Not like any.
It's
I'm
in
not
a
talking
month.
about tonight, but you like pull out your
I'm not
phone as if
leaving
you were
tomorrow.
checking the
I
time.
mean,
You're
yeah,
like,
I still got like
No,
5 more minutes.
so okay.
I'll be here for a little bit longer.
Okay, real quick. Do you ever leave your phone like on? You didn't turn off the screen, and you feel it getting hot in your pocket.
No.
Never mind. Never mind.
He was expecting to go somewhere with
Okay, hopefully
My
there's
screen
some.
turns off on its own.
Hopefully there's. So I don't have that. I don't have like the screen time off because I don't like
Oh,
having
okay.
my phone sitting here and it just turning off, unless the low power mode is on. So when low power mode is off and I just forget I don't hit the power button, the screen stays on, and because it's sitting in my pocket like that, it gets warm. So then I feel it in my pocket getting warm. I'm like, oh, I left my screen on. It's very like, I guess not many people have this problem. I guess it's just me, because Cole's looking at me like I'm a freaking dumbass.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty one-step solution, just lock your phone. Problem goes away. It's like not locking your car. It's like, man, I keep on forgetting to lock my car. Just lock the car. Like, it's not really a huge problem there.
It's like my car keeps getting broken into.
Have you
It's an easy
Have
solution.
you considered locking it? That's a pretty good idea. I should do that.
Oh
God
man.
damn it, man. All right.
Anyway,
Well, that was the Star Wars Super episode. We didn't talk much about the original trilogy too much because, it's if you haven't seen it,
there's not much to
Your
complain
fault.
about. So
Yeah. And that's really what we do on this podcast. We come,
exactly.
we come in here and complain. We all have shit going on in our lives,
We'll
so we
complain about something we haven't seen yet.
just. So speaking of the Irishman, no, but
Oh.
anyways, but appreciate you guys tuning in. We do, like we had mentioned earlier, we have a giveaway going on Twitter right now. 400 follows. We're giving away a pair of AirPods Pro. Pretty expensive and lucrative stuff. So if you want to be looking luxurious around your friends and looking real rich, I recommend you
Follow Mix and Match Radio.
Go.
But we will not do the giveaway if we do not have 400 followers by Christmas Day. That is a fact.
We need like 180 still. So work fast.
I will link the Twitter and the YouTube, so make sure to follow, guys.
Yeah, but follow us on Twitter at Mix and Match Radio. Follow us on Instagram at Mix and Match Podcast. Follow us on YouTube, Spotify, or iTunes. If you type in Mix and Match, we should be the first thing that pops up. But follow us on all there. Like and subscribe. Leave us a review, comment, all that stuff. Send it to your friends, parole officer, the whole nine. But we got anything else to say?
Nope.
What about you?
I look forward to moving to Disney. I'm gonna miss podcasts for 4 months, but I'm gonna look forward to being an audience for once. I think that's gonna be an interesting
that would
take
be
on
interesting, yeah.
it. So
Wow, I didn't
I'm
think about that.
gonna miss talking to y'all every week, but I'm not gonna be completely out of the loop.
We still got a little bit to go here. A few more episodes, my
Yeah.
man.
And I think this was a good episode. I enjoy talking about Star Wars. It's one of my all-time favorite movie franchises. It shaped a large part of my childhood. So
I think a lot of kids can
this was a fun episode for me.
Agreed. We'll see you guys next time, but thank you for tuning in as always. Have a good one.
Thank you.